Welcome to a new series. You saw it in the title, and I also asked you a while ago in a Cleona Chronicle video if you would like to see me doing this format of video also with other single eyeshadows that I own. And I said I also have done palettes with Glaminatrix, like not I have done them, I collected them, and I also have one from Terra. So in total I have, which one is this? I have 24 eyeshadows from Terra Cosmetics, and I will feature 3 of them again. So 8 new parts of videos parallel to the Cleona series, and honestly I might do one with Glaminatrix parallel too, depends on my planning schedule overall. The difference between this and the Cleona Chronicles is that 4 of the shades actually are mattes. So for these videos, if my Wheel of Fortune that I will use before every single look again will choose the matte, this is going to be the center of attention. So I will probably pair it just with some very neutral shimmers, but make this matte kind of the main character. It's hard because I never do matte eyeshadow looks, but I want to try and incorporate one of these mattes just in a very present way. Before we head into the looks with the Terra Moon shadows, I want to address one thing. I am well aware of the controversy that has happened. If you want to read into this, there is a lot of information. I don't want to touch on that now into depth. I personally believe of second chances. I fully agree with everybody who said how Terra Moon handled this back then. It was absolutely poor. It was really not good, if not even embarrassing for a brand. But again, I believe in second chances. Nothing has happened since that. I personally don't have a problem with the brand itself since they just moved on from that. And I hope, I just hope for the better here, that they learned from what happened and that they in the future will just make it better. Everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody can make mistakes. So I, for myself, I decided also to move on from that and not to hold a further grudge on them and to just bring this up every single time. So, plus the fact that when I ask what kind of videos do you want to see with the single eyeshadow, Terra Moon Cosmetics was actually mentioned a couple of times. So I believe that there are a lot of people who are on my side and who also think that second chances are definitely a valid thing and mistakes can be forgiven, should not be forgotten. Honestly, this should not be forgotten, but it can be forgiven and we can just move on from that. Another thing to mention, I am not affiliated with Terra Moon Cosmetics. I bought everything myself, and now it will be the same as in the Cleona Chronicles. I will spin the wheel before every single look, then decide what I am going to use with it, and you will see swatches, you will see close-ups, and I will give you a description. And this, by the way, is the first look you will see, so let's head on. Okay, let's spin the wheel for the first look with the Terra Moons. I'm very excited because I just barely used them, and it's going to be Sunbeam. The Sunbeam is this beautiful eyeshadow, and when I just look at it in the pan, there is a lot going on. The website describes this as a neutral duochrome eyeshadow with loads of sparkle pink and green shifts. And I do agree, honestly. It's very shiny, very sparkly. I see the green and the pink, so it's like the classic beginner duochrome in my opinion. What I find very interesting, and I don't know if this is going to apply for all the shades that we are going to use, but there are 2 sizes actually available. You have the classic 26mm, which I have here, and then there is also a 36mm size. I have never seen that single eyeshadow companies that they offer 2 sizes. So here I have the swatch applied, and I don't know how much you can tell, probably in the phone video in a second a little bit better, but this has a translucent base to it. So I assume that on the eye there is going to be a lot of the skin showing through. So It's definitely neutral and subtle. By the way, excuse my hand. I have just some allergic reaction, so don't worry, it's all fine. It just looks a bit weird. And you see in the video definitely the transparent base, you see the shifts, and in the unfocused, you see the amount of sparkle and reflection. So I'm quite excited for this shade. Okay, this took a while to find an eyeshadow palette that I want to vibe with, because I feel like with this very neutral duochrome, I don't want to go full on like catching on the colors. I want to do something soft and make this the center of attention, which is with a shade like this quite hard. And I went now through 6 or 7 palettes, looked at them and be like, yeah, no, that doesn't match. No, that is too loud. No, that is too cool tone. That is too warm tone. My first thought was going into one of the Florasis Phoenix Engraving palette, but none of them really vibe with the shadows, so I ended up now taking the Hindash Monochromance palette, and I will probably stay here in the first 4 shades, so I will not use the purple and the turquoisey shades down here. I will do something more in the neutral pink region, and then add this as center of attention shade. That was the hardest choice so far in this single random videos. So I'm gonna start with Alter Ego, and I say Alter Ego and not Alter and Ego because I basically swipe my brush in the center of that shade and apply this very, very heavy as my transition color. I now tap into Mate and apply this in the outer V and outer crease, bringing it in the center. And then I go into Heavy and Petal and just swirl the brush around and use this here for the inner crease and bring that also to the center. And that's it for the mattes. Very soft, very, very muted. I now pick up Sunbeam and apply this here on the lid. I'm honest with you, the lid looks just so different from what I thought from the swatch. It is much greener, but I kind of like that contrast. It looks very interesting, but I want to keep it with the more neutral look, so for the liner I take the Cupid's Arrow from Nabla in the shade Cappuccino. I don't know if this is in their permanent line. This was a limited edition Christmas set years ago, but I can assume that a nude shade like that is permanent in their line. I'm now going to Mate again, and don't worry, my brush is just a little bit stained from a look that I did in my timeline yesterday. And I use that and swipe it here on my lower lash line. And then I take a pencil brush and I go into Heart and I apply this a little bit below. I want to give it some warmth actually. For inner corner highlight, I will be going in the Lemonhead LA Space Case Mini. And I'm not sure. I want to pick up some of the shifts. I also don't want to overwhelm the look and just distract. So, I think this shade here, this is a Sugarfish. This should be the vibe. It is a bigger glitter particle, but from what I see when I look inside, it actually looks like the one on the lid, and that is one of my cats scratching the door. So I pick up here some Sugarfish. I actually had to bring it back to life a bit. And now I just apply this. But I picked up a bit too much, so I'm switching between the different inner corners. And here we have now the finished look. On the lips, I'm wearing MAC Oak lip liner that it's just completely covered with the shade Beyond Compare, which is this one from the Made by Mitchell Cupid case, the Muted Nudes one. I think this was a successful first look. I like the way this looks. I love the way this just is on the eyes, but I'm honest with you, there is 100% a shade in my collection, and it doesn't have even to be some single palette that I have for Cleona or whatever. I'm pretty sure that this just very basic, neutral, translucent based, pink to green to gold shifted shade I have 1,000 times, but nonetheless, this is a beautiful shift. I love duochromes like that, and I think a lot of people, they use this pink, green, gold shifty just as an entrance to any kind of chromes. I think even Natasha Denona has one of these in a very, very neutral palette because it just works a lot of the times. So let's move on to look number 2. Okay, look number 2 is on the go, and we will get the shade Adrastea. And it's actually one of the mattes here on the side. It's this teal one. The Terra Moon website describes this shade as a deep teal matte. Ugh. Look at this. Teal is such a beautiful color, and look at that. That swatch was surprisingly unpatchy. So there are some patches here, but that could also be because I have some cream still left over on my hand because of the little things that I have here. So I expected that. I'm very, very curious how this is going to perform. I mean, obviously it's going to be a teal eye look, but you know, a shimmer you can put in the center of attention, but a matte eyeshadow is definitely always needing some surrounding it. Personally, I just am not a fan of all matte looks. And because with a matte eyeshadow, I think I just need some inspiration. So I do have this book here. This is the Complete Color Harmony Pantone edition from Leotrie's Eisenman, or Eisenman. And what this book is basically about is you have different colors in the first part or the first chapters that describe moods and how these colors can change moods. But then you also have these pages where you have, for example, here, this is the tropical vibe, and you have different color trios of stuff that just works together, and I was thinking of getting inspired by one of these trios. So in the compartment or the chapter of, it's called Power Clashing, I have this trio here. It is teal, a lilac, and a dusty pink. And I think that just kind of works. But the main part in that look should be the teal color. So let's see what I can do to achieve this trio here. I found one. It's the Forbidden Sugar and Grunge palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics, because we have some lilacs going on here, and it's technically not the definition of dusty pinks, but definitely helps with the blending. And I think I can definitely do some cool contrast here with the grungy shade and the jawbreaker one. So let's head into this one. I'm starting this look with Baby Tea. It's a very, very fluffy brush, and I start to blend this here on my inner crease and also like the inner skin part towards the nose, and I bring it outwards. Then I go in detention and use this in the center of my crease, blending it slightly upwards and a tad bit outwards. I completely forgot how much I like the quality in the Sugar and Grunge, and you know, Blend Bunny has in general beautiful quality when it comes to the mattes. The shimmers are a bit so-so, but this one has something super special to me. I do like that, so maybe that's also one for the old but still banging series that I have. I think so far I've done only one video, but I have a list. You know, I have the list. Now time for Adrastea. Not sure if I pronounced that right, and I don't know if what exactly the origin of this name is. But fun fact, Adrastea is also the name of the ship that you have in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the one that is set in ancient Greek. Greece. Greece is the name, not Greek. And I apply this now here on the outer part, also into the crease. So I applied my glitter glue, and I now go into Grunge and apply this in the center of the lid, bringing it outwards. And I will reapply some of the Adrastea shade on the most outer part in a second. And I now go into Don't Speak and apply this on the rest of the lid. And why do I have immediately that song in my mind? And to mix it with the grungy shade, I just wiggled a couple times in the center. Now back into Adrastea, I reapply here a bit on the outer part. And then I also tapped into the tension and just reapply here a bit on the rest of the crease. While I love the super colorful peacock vibe that I created, I do need some contrast, so I take a black liner. This is the Charlotte Rock and Coal in Bedroom Black. They're very, very good. And I line my waterline with that. But I also line the upper line. I used to be so good when I was younger with this. I just raccooned my eyes and now I'm like, I'm dying. But I go back into Adrastea and use this to smudge out the black that's on the skin here. And back into the Sugar and Grunge palette, I take, you know what? I take Skater Girl and smudge that slightly on top and underneath for a softer blend. For inner corner highlight, I go into Bubblegum and apply it. And here we have the finished look. On the lips, I'm wearing the lip liner from Hindash in the shade Hush, and the lip color that looks a bit like mustard in my opinion is the shade Revenge from the Made by Mitchell Cupid case in Muted Nudes. I think this is a very, very pretty look, and to be honest, I think I managed to make Adrastea the main center stage here of this look, because the whole vibe is definitely banging from that outer part teal, and the other shades are really just there to contrast this a bit and to give it a little bit more impact. When it comes to the quality of the matte, I think this is a bit of a drier matte, so it applies surprisingly sheer on the eye, but you can build it up. There is a bit of fallout. Yes, it is on the website even stated that there is fallout, but honestly, personally, I just don't care for fallout because I just wipe it off afterwards. And now let's move on to look number 3, and maybe then with new hair. Ooh, jump scare, so let's spin the wheel for the last look with new hair in this video. That's the thing of pre-filming. And the shade we have is Mocha Twilight. So Mocha Twilight is the shade next to the first that we used, Sunbeam. And here it is. Very, very pretty, but I don't think this is going to be a chromey shade. So we have also regular metallics in here, because the website describes this Mocha Twilight is a deep bronze metallic. So here you have it applied. I have to do a little bit of a swatch here on that side because the back of my hand is just getting a bit worse right now because of somewhat of an allergic thing. And here we have it. I don't know if you can tell, but I think in the phone video you will. I just applied a little bit too much, so we have a chunk here, but it is a very pretty shade. And the video here definitely proves that. It's very sparkly, it's very wet looking with a brown base to it. I really like that. But compared to the previous look, honestly, this one is going to be quite boring, I guess. And honestly, when I think of boring eye looks, I immediately have to think of the Urban Decay Naked One. So I think with the Mocha Twilight, this palette can be pimped. And yes, I said it because I personally think that this is not really a good palette. But please don't get me wrong, it all comes down to the taste, and honestly, I'm keeping it for the nostalgia. I bought it for the very first time when it got re-released in 2024. And I'm starting with the shade Buck and apply this directly in the crease and slightly bring it up. I then go with a fluffy brush into Naked and use this on the outer parts just for a smoother blend. I then go into the shade Dark Horse and I apply this on my outer V area and in the outer crease. I applied some glitter glue and now I go into Mocha Twilight here and apply this all over the lid. We're keeping it brassy bronzy in the waterline, so I take the ColourPop Overboard liner. At this point, I should know these names out of my mind, but I still don't. So I line my waterline with that. With a pencil brush, I go now into Buck and apply this in a very, very sloppy, blended, blown out way here underneath. And I also take a little bit of Mocha Twilight and apply this here directly on my lash line. For inner color highlight, I stay in the Naked palette and take Sidecar and apply this. Here we have now the third and last finished look. The lips, I know they look a bit off. The color really does not match with the eye look, but I'm still in the middle of filming my looks with the Cupid case made by Mitchell, and this is the shade Focus on Me from Rose Garden. And honestly, I think I need to top this off with something that is just matching my eye look a bit better. I think a black lip oil on top of this will do the trick. This is the Uhu one in Grey Blackberry. It is the shade Y819. So let me just apply this on top. Definitely a statement. Definitely far out of my comfort zone, but I think this is a tad bit better than before. Actually, I like this combo a lot. I could see myself wearing this, but maybe not with this eye look. But when we are talking about the eyeshadow, I loved all three looks. The first one I would say is my least favorite, but that just comes down to the nature of the shade Sunbeam, that it is so translucent. Sunbeam honestly is a shade that I much rather would use as inner corner highlight, or for like one shadow looks when I'm just running out of the door. I like to do this with these wet looking shadows all the time when I'm just too lazy in the morning to get ready. But you know, I work from home here in the background, so I have to look a little bit decent because I have the camera on all day. And then on those days where I maybe even slept in, I take shades like these, like Sunbeam or Moondust shades from Urban Decay, or the Patrick Ta duo. There is one shade in the gold silver one that is exactly like that. And I smear it just all over the lid, put a bit of bronzer in the crease, and then I'm good and I'm fine. But overall, I do really like the looks, and I'm very, very excited to move on to the next part next month and show you the next 3 shades in here. I mean, you can probably tell just from looking at it that the majority in here I never touched. They never even got swatched, so this is definitely going to be a series full of first times. So let me know down below, of course, which was your favorite look. I'm very, very curious. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out any of the other upcoming videos, and I see you soon.